On April 7th, 2020, Project A was released as a closed beta to gamers, in order to hype up what we now know as the AAA title Valorant. Gamers from all over the world were excited to get their hands on a drop from a Twitch stream, some people having upward to 10 streams open at once in hopes of getting that drop. And now what's known as commonplace, the free-to-play game Valorant, which everybody knows and loves, has come up on its first anniversary. And in that time, we've had new characters, new maps, several balance changes. Even the look of the game has come a long way from what it once was in the beta, and lots of skins. Valorant has been a fluid game over the past year, and the gameplay has stood the test of time up until this point. But some things have fallen by the wayside. There are some skins in the game that are no longer a part of it, that we've seemingly just forgotten about. While the community favorites for skins will always be the Prime and Reaver collections, what if I told you that in the beginning, the Reaver collection was simply a beta skin, and was much different from what we know now? And what if I also told you that while the Reaver is one of the oldest skins that Valorant has, stemming all the way back from beta, and evolving into what we know now, that other collections from beta weren't quite so lucky, and have just been forgotten about? I'm urnotjustin, and today I want to talk to you about the forgotten skin collections. In this video, I want to show you skins that you've maybe never seen before at all, that were only around during the closed beta. I'd like to show you earlier versions of skins, including their beta version finishers. And I'd like to show you variants of skins that we have now that were only available in beta, that didn't make it to the final version of the game. Ultimately for this video, I would like to show you guys things that you have maybe never seen before if you haven't played since beta. But let's get right into it. From the jump right now, I would like to show you guys what is, in my opinion, the most exciting skins that aren't in the game today that should be. But to do that, first I would have to explain the original Reaver skins from beta. To briefly summarize this, the Reaver wasn't always a collection that people just had or wanted. In the beginning of the beta, the Reaver collection consisted of a knife, a sheriff, an operator, and a vandal, whereas in the full game it now has a guardian. But more notable, the purple on the beta Reaver was a lighter color, and not the darker tone that we know today. Even the finishers were different. Most noticeably, the finishers would also change with the variant of the Reaver that you were using, which you can compare to today's Forsaken collection, where the two different variants have two different finishers. This information about the beta Reaver is important moving forward because when beta ended, the Reaver skins weren't in the final game, leaving players wanting it back, which we eventually would get back, with a more refined style and a different finisher. But what about in the instance where there were skins in the beta that haven't quite come back yet the way that the Reaver did? This is easily going to be my favorite part of the video. In the beta, there were two skin sets that were called the Ronin and Imperium collection, and while they both have different names, it can be heavily inferred that they're a part of the same genre of skins. They both have this sort of retro ancient Asia look that consists of red, gold, and dragons. In the Ronin collection, there's a sheriff, a bulldog, and an operator. In the Imperium collection, there's a knife and a classic. And I would imagine that a lot of you didn't play the beta and didn't even know these skins existed at all. Valorant practically had its own dragon lore in the beta. And while the Reaver got its own refined and finished skin collection in the game, both the Imperium and the Ronin have yet to come back, let alone with the refined version for the final game that we know now, which is really disappointing to me. But before we move on, if you made it this far into the video, leave me a comment that says dragon lore. I will know that you made it this far into the video, and you will be totally awesome if you do that. And if you are enjoying the video so far, do consider liking and subscribing. It helps me out a lot. But moving onwards, I'd like to showcase these skins to you. Both the Ronin and the Imperium skins were incredible, despite there being no finishers or animations for these two collections. The finish and bright colors and unique textures stand out but fit in so well with Valorant's general style of skins. And earlier I said that it could be inferred that these skins are very similar, and could almost be considered to be the same skin collection. Other players might argue that the Oni collection is supposed to be these two skin collections put together, but I couldn't disagree more. While the Oni collection is awesome in its own regard, with the theme generally the same as the Imperium and the Ronin, the Oni collection was its own standalone collection. And with the Reaver getting its own refined version, I'm quite sad to see that both the Ronin and Imperium haven't been refined and given finishers or animations, or even just added into the game as they were. In fact, I don't even believe that these skins need to be relaunched with their own collections. I think that they should just be added into the rotating store, and should be able to be purchased. What do you think? Unless the developers are holding out and refining these skins the way they did with the Reaver, I see no reason for these skins to not be in the game right now. While we may never know why the Ronin and Imperium skins aren't in the game, and seemingly refinement is a factor involved with this, it should go without saying that all skins start out as concepts, and most concepts start out with rough drafts, which go on to the final product, which in a lot of instances has a lot of variations, and not everything will make it into the final game. In a previous video, I talked about how the Nebula's original concept made people motion sick, and was completely far off from what we know now. But what about finished skin collections that we know about, that have several variations that didn't make it into the final game? Well, there's quite a few of those too. To move on to this next topic, I want to start with the skin set that everybody loves, that being the Prime Collection. You know it, you love it, you've seen every variation, and you probably see at least one variation in every game that you play. But did the Prime Collection always look how it looked? What is arguably the most popular skin collection in the entire game originally wasn't so clean, and in fact, had a more out there and even eccentric look. These are 6 concepts for the original Prime Collection, 3 of which will probably stand out to you, because they're the ones that made into the game, minus a few artistic choices. What I'm assuming is the default Prime Vandal used to have this checkered pattern with crowns all over it. The orange, blue, and white variant had a wolf printed on the magazine, and the yellow and black and the pink and blue versions stayed generally the same, minus a few little things, like the red on the tip of the yellow gun, and the pink and blue being a little bit brighter, as well as there's another wolf decal on the pink and blue gun. But what's really cool about this is that there are 2 variants that didn't make it into the final game, one of them being a multi-pattern gun with a carbon finish on the butt of the gun, and a beautiful white, blue, and orange at the other end of the gun. While this one here has a dark blue and purple with light blue trim. You're going to hear me saying this all video, but these should be in the game. And another interesting bit of information that I can give you is that the original concept design for these skins was named Hype Beast. Quite a different name for what we know as Prime. Perhaps the name was a little bit too similar to other games. Moving onward. From all the research that I've been doing on all of these skins in the game, I personally believe that a majority of the collections in the game have several variations that aren't actually in the game. Prime being a really good example. But what about a lesser version of skins? Something that's not a fan favorite. What I'm going to talk about next is really interesting because while the Prime has several versions that didn't make it into the game, and the Reaver was refined to be better, the Luxe skins have several versions that just didn't make it into the game for no reason in particular. And the full version of Valorant that we know now, the Luxe only has one version, and it's what you see is what you get. A single variant collection with just a blue Luxe skin. Luxe being short for luxury. However, in the beta, there were multiple versions, which didn't make it into the game again, for no reason in particular. And to take this video home, I'd like to showcase them to you. In the beta, when the Luxe collection came out, it consisted of a knife, a ghost, a vandal, a specter, a judge, and an operator, making it the biggest collection at the time. And while the Luxe we know now is just blue, the level 1 form of the Luxe skins in the beta was red. And with the variants, level 2 is a blue and white theme, similar to how level 1 is red and white. Level 3 stands out the most, because while the other 2 variants follow a solid color theme that's supposed to look cleaner and nicer, level 3 has a camouflage finish, and in my opinion it looks quite good. It gives the gun more of an AK-47 look. And lastly, level 4 follows the same style as 1 and 2. But this time with a rich beige and gold color, which is really striking for the fancy luxury look that they were going for. And while these skins will never be the fan favorites that people want, I still see no reason for these skins to have not been added into the game. And while I understand that in a game where finishers and animations are commonplace and should be the standard, making a skin like the luxury collection not be so wanted, I still think that this collection is really cool and it would have been even better had they added in the variants. But as always, I would love to know what you guys think. And that's going to wrap up this video. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything new, like the video and subscribe. And I'd also like to take a moment to direct you to my Discord, which is linked down below in the description. There you can share your collections and hang out and have fun, and I'm very active there. And I like the environment to be fun and friendly, so do check that out. And as always, I'm Justin, and you're not. I'll see you guys in the next video.